It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to It's Just Football on a beautiful Monday morning following a jam-packed Sunday of NFL action. I am Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner, here to talk to you about everything that we saw this past weekend. Mike, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. Obviously didn't have the best weekend yesterday. The London game kind of got me, but
yeah, how was that? Did you wake up for it?
I mean,
you're an early riser.
I'm a Packers fan.
You're an early riser.
I'm an early riser, and woke up to watch them get crossing routed to death. It was pretty brutal. It was just they busted coverages left and right again. This Packers defense, man, Joe Barry. I'm pissed.
You thought week one was behind you?
Yeah,
they weren't.
No, I mean, I knew this Packers team was flawed, right? I didn't think it would be on the defense side of the ball, which is 27 points to the Giants. That's the most they gave up all. That's the most they scored all season long. So that was a tough one to swallow.
Well, okay. So week one, we promised the show was going to be just about the Packers, but week one, not a great defensive game plan against Justin Jefferson, right? Yep. This past Sunday, not a great defensive game plan against the Giants. Maybe you get like one bad Joe Barry defensive game plan, like in every country. You know?
Okay. Oh, I was going to say just like 4-week increments.
No. It's like every country. Like, all right, they had their bad one in America. As long as they don't play a game in Mexico later this year, maybe they're good to go.
They did kind of have, I'll say this, they kind of had a weird mindset. And even Aaron Rodgers touched on this after the show. Like, they were like complaining about going to London. And I get that it's not ideal. But it's like the Giants had to deal with that too. Like, they were making excuses like, oh, not excited about having to travel, jet lag, all this stuff. It just was a bad frame going into that week.
Catherine said, I was at the London game. Immense atmosphere. I mean,
love it.
It looked pretty sick. Yeah. It really did.
I need to get over there for one. Hopefully.
Maybe we could do a live show from there.
That's the dream, dude.
That's the dream. Quinn, I'm getting you into the show by putting some pressure on you. Get us to London, my guy. We want to be eating fish and chips, evaluating football.
I have no desire to go to London.
No?
Actually, that's not true. I want to go to London. I don't know if I want to do a show from London. But I would let's go to
That's fair, because then you have to work when you're over there, sure.
The poob.
Oh,
go get some pints.
So what do you mean you don't want to go to London? You're wearing a pub sweatshirt.
A show from London would be tough. But I would like to go to London someday, yeah. I have never been.
Okay. He doesn't want to work over there.
Yeah.
But maybe we can work on that.
Yeah. I have been to London actually when I was a kid, but I don't remember shit.
I haven't been to London, so I don't remember shit either because I haven't been there. Guys, we're talking about more than just the London game. We promise we're going to get into a lot of fun ways to recap what we saw from Sunday. We've got a lot of really good superlatives that we're getting to and how we're going to break down these games. The one that mattered most for draft implications, for the playoffs, the game that we want to talk about the most, and then, of course, the game that just did make sense because it seems like every single week there is a game that just does not make any sense. We're also going to revisit some preseason takes that we had with a poker kind of a theme to it, saying, are we still all in on it? Or are we folding our cards on those takes? Are we kind of conceding what we said in the preseason early on? But we're going to recap as many games as we possibly can. Quinn, I'll go back to you because I asked you a couple minutes ago, hey, what's the question of the day? And you guys very quietly in there said, yeah, we got a question of the day. But you didn't tell me what it was. So is it like something trivia related? Do you not want me to get a head start? What's the question of the day here to kick off the show?
I mean, I just didn't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But yeah, of course we have a question of the day.
Okay.
As you may or may not know, the PFF grading system grades every throw on a scale of -2 to +2. Yesterday, the very first +2 graded throw of the entire season was made.
Ooh.
Who threw it?
Is it the Geno throw?
I immediately thought of one of the Geno throws.
Yeah.
Geno had 5 big-time throws yesterday. Mm-hmm. 5.
The touchdown to Lockett was pretty insane.
That was sick.
The Josh Allen throw to Gabe Davis, also insane.
Also
that was like
sick.
62, 63 yards through the air, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and to kind of preface this for the viewers, +2 throws are pretty rare.
Yes.
Don't see a lot of +2 throws throughout the course of the season.
I wonder what the chat thinks about this. Who do you guys think had the first +2 PFF throw of the season? This is a great question. I think my answer would be Geno.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's got to be one of those Geno throws.
That throw was insane.
I don't know if there was another one. The Allen one was obviously pretty insane.
trying to think.
But I think that's it.
Yeah, I can't recall another that was really far and away just like nasty.
Somebody said Brady made a great throw to Evans deep downfield. I agree, but is that going to be the first 2-point throw of the year?
I'm trying to think. I thought there was a throw earlier this year that I was like, okay, yeah, that's a +2. Like, that throw's out of this world.
Look at you, PFF mind.
I need to go back. I'll look after the show, but I feel like there should have been one already.
Was it Trevor Lawrence's interception to Derek Stingley? No? It wasn't that one? No?
No. We've definitely had some -2s though on the year. That I can assure you. But yeah, I'm gonna go Geno Smith. That's my final answer.
I think I'm gonna go with Geno as well, but we'll give it to the end. We'll give it to the end of the show for people to think about this. And then we'll reveal the answer to the question today at the end of the show. I think I'm going to go Geno as well. Maybe I'll just, for fun, I'll go Josh Allen and be against you there. But Geno's performance is absolutely insane. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that as we review and recap a lot of the games that we saw on Sunday. Mike, where do you want to start with this one? We're breaking this up, as I said, into some new categories. And we're getting right to it here on the show because there's too much to get to leave any fluff at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
We're breaking up some of our favorite games into 4 different superlatives, 4 different categories. The game we want to talk about the most, the game that shaped the playoffs, the game that shaped the NFL draft, and then the game that we thought made no sense one way or the other when it came down to the final score. Let's talk about the game that you want to get to the most, Mike. What is it? What do you want to talk about?
I think it was the one that was probably the most impactful as far as division, playoff matchups. The one probably between 2 of the better teams is the Bengals Ravens.
Sure.
Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Last night, obviously, the Ravens coming away victorious. I don't want to say nail in the coffin for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's obviously too early. They had a slow start to last year before obviously making the Super Bowl. But the problems that exist on this roster, on this team, I just think are there. This is an average offense at this point in time. They're 16th in points per game, 15th in points per drive, 18th in EPA per play offensively. I don't think they solve what is failing this team, and it's because, 1, it's massive on the play calling issues, and 2, the offensive line. I think Lyle Collins, I think they got a lemon in Lyle Collins. I think he is. The injuries have caught up to him. I don't think he's going to ever come back to being the same player. He is the lowest graded offensive tackle in the NFL that was penciled in to be a starter before the season. All the other 3 that have graded lower than him this season are guys who are replacing other injured players at their respective positions. So he is the worst. He is the worst guy that you expected to start in the NFL this year, which is not what they thought they were buying. They thought they were getting top 5, top 10 tackle play, which is what Lyle Collins has been the rest of his career. But there may have been a reason why it was only the Bengals at the bidding table for Lyle Collins' services, and it was only $7 million a year. It might have been because that injury that he has suffered recently still affecting his play.
I mean, it's an easy transition because this is the game that I want to talk about most as well, and I figure that this will probably be different on different weeks as we kind of go through this with this format, but I do think it is Bengals-Ravens because the implications were there. Now, we could have used this game for the one that shaped the playoff the most because these 2 teams, they were basically battling in this game for the top of the AFC North. So whoever won, that was obviously going to have big playoff implications there. But I do think that this is mainly on the Bengals. And we can talk about the Ravens in a second and kind of the things on the other side of the coin. But we've talked about this before. It just still is what it is. The offense feels too dysfunctional to me. Whether it's the offensive line not playing as well as you mentioned, with Lyle Collins being one of, I think, a couple of reasons why the offensive line's not playing as well as it should be. Whether it was how it just didn't feel like they had a good offensive game plan with T. Higgins not in there with Jamar Chase, right? Like Jamar Chase was so focused by that Ravens defense that when they didn't have Higgins on the other side, it just did not feel like they could run what they wanted to run and how they wanted to push the ball down the field. In the red zone, though, is really where things get highlighted. We had somebody in the chat say to start the show, I'm here for the fire Zach Taylor hype that we're going to get on this show. I don't know if it's hype, but there's certainly been reason to doubt Zach Taylor. There still is reason to doubt Zach Taylor. When you get in the red zone and you call Philly special, let Burrow read the field after an egregious sack that you took from Tyler Boyd by even calling that play, and then you try to run a shovel pass to maybe your 5th best skill position player on the team, I mean, that can't be what it is. And to me, when you're running all those gimmick plays, when you're running 2 out of 3 plays on the goal line or gimmick plays, that tells me that you don't trust your guys up front. Yeah. That you don't trust the offensive line up front to protect the way that they need to, with space being very limited in the red zone, for Burrow to scan the field. Because Burrow did scan the field the play before, and he gave it to Jamar Chase, and he almost got into the end zone. Right? And so it's just, I feel like there's too much dysfunction. Whether it's what Joe Burrow is doing hanging in the pocket so long, not trusting the offensive line to play well, not being able to run the ball on short yardage situations when that space gets limited. Like, it just, no matter where I turn with the Cincinnati Bengals, I feel like they're way too dysfunctional right now. Zach Taylor is not elevating that team the way he needs to as an offensive play designer, as a play caller, and someone who is analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of that team in certain situations. So that is the game that I wanted to talk about most, because I didn't pick the Bengals to go to the playoffs. I said that they were just going to miss out on the playoffs, and I still have faith in that because I don't have a lot of faith on this offensive side of the ball to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I agree. And they have been, I don't want to say figured out, like Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the teams that are playing a lot of too high coverages against. But too high coverages have brought this offense to its knees, this passing offense. They want to attack down the football field. They want to run a lot of goes on the outside, a lot of vertical routes. But they're not adjusting when they're getting looks that don't offer them vertical routes. Like, they're getting a lot of cover two, like I said, a lot of too high, a lot of stuff where you cannot just go ball after go ball, stop and go, these other downfield routes. You have to do a quicker passing game. It has to be more underneath, and it has to be more consistent, and they're just not adjusting. They're bottom 5 in EPA per dropback against too high shells this year. That's not acceptable for a team as talented as this offensively.
Sorry, I got to cut you guys off here.
Yep.
Trev, you mentioned coaches getting fired. Panthers just fired Matt Rhule.
Ooh, I was literally going to say later on the show. I was
that he should be fired?
Yeah,
it's
like
official.
Damn. House cleaning.
You look. I mean, this actually goes well into my next segment. If we want to go on to the next segment, we can do games that shaped the NFL draft. And I was going to pick the Carolina Panthers as this one because it's bad, right? If you look at the draft order right now, you go to tankathon.com right now, you see the draft order. The Carolina Panthers at 1-4 currently have the number 1 overall pick. There is no hope for this Panthers team right now. There is no cavalry coming in. There is nowhere to turn. You and I were watching the Panthers game yesterday, and we were watching how poor Baker Mayfield is playing. Baker Mayfield is a broken quarterback. He is a broken quarterback completely. Yeah. There are things that he is doing that show no confidence in him playing the position that we know Baker Mayfield can do much better, that he's done better, even when he was a rookie in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But he's not there right now. He is so broken mentally, and there's nowhere to turn. There's no Sam Darnold. And even if there was, I just said the words out loud, there's no Sam Darnold, as if Sam Darnold's going to be like some knight in shining armor for this team. Matt Corral's out for the year with an injury. They have PJ Walker that they could turn to, but that's literally it. It is so hopeless offensively with the Panthers, dead last in offensive EPA per play. Baker Mayfield's career lows, you can see him on the screen right now. Where is the reason to continue to believe? And I would have said the only reason why you're keeping Matt Rhule on this staff is because when you listen to the players after the game, they are still caping for their guy. With gusto, with pride. They are caping for Matt Rhule, saying that they believe in him. And until you really lose the locker room, I wasn't sure that they were going to fire him, but there is no doubt about it. The results have not been what they have needed to be. And David Tepper, the owner in Carolina, had to step in and say, we can't accept this. We're not going to accept this. This is not what we're going to accept in Carolina. So you see Matt Rhule getting fired.
Yeah, to me, it's just the beginning. That's kind of tip of the iceberg. I think Scott Fitterer has to go as well. The roster mismanagement that they're going to pay for here in coming years is pretty gross in terms of the contracts they've given out to where those guys are performing on the football field and to where they may not have enough space to realistically get Brian Burns. What are the shining picks that they've made over the past handful of years? Might not even have the money to re-sign him because of how bad their cap situation is. So this one, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But hopefully, this goes hand in hand with the game I said was the game that shaped the draft order, was the Texans winning. The Texans passing them in the draft order. This is going to be a 1 versus 2 off. I think it's pretty quite clear right now. Those are your number 1, number 2 overall picks when it's all said and done, or are the favorites to be there. And so any win that one of these teams picks up, it slots them behind the other because these teams aren't going to have a lot of wins when it's all said and done. But the good news is there's 2 quarterbacks that are waiting for you at the top of the draft.
Well, I said yesterday, DeMeco Ryans, San Francisco 49ers defense coordinator, should just hang around in Carolina for the next couple of days and check out the real estate market because he could very well be the head coach there in Carolina. Is there anybody, I'm kind of putting you on the spot there, but is there anybody that comes to your mind that could be a head coaching candidate in Carolina as of right now? Because Steve Wilks is going to take over as the interim. Steve Wilks obviously got a lot of experience in the NFL, so I don't think it's going to be a captainless ship, if you will. I think they're going to be fine. I think it's still going to be bad. But when you think of potential names to maybe take over in Carolina, I obviously said DeMeco Ryans is one of them, but is there anybody else that pops out?
Yeah, I mentioned Ben Johnson, the Lions offense coordinator, last week on the show. Now, obviously, they didn't put up a point this week, so it was a little premature in that, but I still do think he's going to be a hot name this coming off season. But the guy I would say that I've been kind of, tea leavesing, been saying all along to Carolina, Ken Dorsey. Obviously was quarterback coach when Cam Newton had his best seasons in Carolina, was the quarterback coach, obviously, for Josh Allen before now becoming the offensive coordinator this year in Buffalo. I do just think that's a guy who familiar with the organization, having a ton of success everywhere he's gone since, to where it seems like a no-brainer at this point. If he wants that job, it probably should be his.
I feel like the biggest pushback that I got when I suggested DeMeco Ryans as the next head coach in Carolina was Panthers fans were like, no, the defense is fine. We need an offensive coach. And I do understand where they're coming from there to an extent, right? Because somebody else in the chat said, oh, Tampa's OC. So Byron Leftwich, right? Byron Leftwich went through a couple of head coaching interviews during the cycle last year. And I know he's been a hot name before as a potential head coach or a future NFL head coach. But and this might be Byron. I'm not coming out and saying that he can't be the leader that you need him to be. But I'll just say to fans, be careful when you get too into the details of, oh, we have to get an offensive-minded coach. Oh, we have to get a defensive-minded head coach. You want a leader. Like, you want a guy who can be a CEO. You want that type of a head coach. And when I look at DeMeco Ryans and how much it seems like those dudes play for him and how much everyone can't say a bad thing about him, what he's been able to do over the last couple of years, rising the coaching ranks as fast as he has, you don't do that just because of your football knowledge. You do that because of a lot of different reasons. And so the path that he has taken, I've obviously never sat down with DeMeco and interviewed him. But if I were to heed any advice towards Carolina and their hiring process, it has to be that. You've got to get the right guy at the top. Don't just let it be this, oh, our offense is bad, let's make sure that we get an offensive-minded head coach. Even if you get a defensive-minded head coach, if he's the right guy, if he's got the right head on his shoulders, you've got a network. You can hire people to call certain plays and orchestrate different sides of the ball. So that's just my 2 cents I wanted to say about this.
And I'll say this, it all fits together, right? If you're a defensive-minded head coach, it means because you know offense of football and you know how to stop good offensive football for the most part. Now obviously, there's exceptions to that, elsewhere, but Sean McDermott's working out well in Buffalo as a defensive-minded head coach. Mike Tomlin's worked pretty excellent in Pittsburgh as defensive-minded head coach. Bill Belichick, obviously, the all-time defensive-minded head coach. So if you know one side of the ball, chances are you know well the other side of the ball and can identify talent on that side of the ball in terms of coordinators who can be successful. So I think that distinction is becoming overrated, and especially with a defensive resurgence around the NFL. I don't think you have to go get your offensive mind nowadays.
I agree. I completely agree with you. I'm sure that we'll circle back to the Matt Rhule news, the Carolina news. We'll kind of be talking about that throughout the show because that obviously is the big news coming out of the NFL this morning. But let's go to a different superlative. What's a game that shaped the playoffs for you? Let's go other side of the coin. What is it? What is a game that you saw this past Sunday that shaped the playoffs, the result one way or the other, whether it was both teams that were in playoff contention or one team that maybe looked great, didn't look great? What's a game that stood out to you with that mindset?
To me, it was the Cowboys trouncing the Rams. I mean, that game was not 22-10, but the Rams couldn't do diddly-poo offensively. It was tough to watch. Cowboys 4-1 now, obviously right up there with the Eagles. NFC East looks kind of like a house with the Giants now 4-1. Eagles 5-0, but they look in a driver's seat for at least a wild card spot, if not still competitive in the NFC East with the Eagles. We get to see that this upcoming weekend. And on the flip side of the coin, the Rams 2-3 now. Pretty far behind the 8 ball in that division, obviously, having lost the 49ers being ahead of them, and only looking worse as the weeks go on. Week 1, Bills game, we're like, this is ugly. That was bad. That was a red flag, this offensive line performance, and still getting worse. Most pressures among any team in the league this past week. What they did, what they allowed to the Dallas Cowboys, that's scary. I am worried, and shaping the playoffs, the Rams may not be there when January rolls along.
I told you that Cooper Rush was going to stay
You did?
undefeated. I said it on the
You
show
did.
last
That's your
week. I
prediction.
said it on the show last week. I
love
said
it.
he was going to stay undefeated. Dak conversation? Should the Cowboys trade Dak? I'm kidding. Please don't clip that. But I do agree with you. There's a lot of reasons to be worried about the Los Angeles Rams. I'm also worried about your Green Bay Packers, man. I really am, because Packers fall 27-22 to the New York Giants. We talked about it. It was a London game. It felt like, all right, both teams were going back and forth a little bit there, but then the Packers seemed to pull away in the middle parts of the game. And then that second half, man, it's just like they couldn't stop the Giants. They couldn't do anything on offense. You mentioned the Joe Barry experience there with their defense coordinator. Yeah, this is yesterday. Not a single corner on the team had a coverage grade above 52.7. Cornerback completion percentage allowed. Look at this. Jair Alexander, 100%, 5 for 5. Rhule Douglas, 100%, 2 for 2. Eric Stokes, 100%, 5 for 5. Not one of their top 3 corners had a forced incompletion. When they were targeted in coverage, they gave it the catch. And you had an insane stat on Twitter. What was it, the crossing routes stat?
Yeah. So they allowed the second fewest yards in the NFL this year. One, because they played Justin Fields, but the most yards on crossing routes of any team. Over a third of the yards they've allowed have come on crossing routes this season. Over 60 more than any other team in the NFL. 327 yards. It's insane.
That is an insane statistic to put next to each other. I figured that it was going to be a little bit for this Packers offense to get things figured out, right? You don't just throw young, new wide receivers in here, and even with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you don't just it doesn't immediately manifest itself into production. It was always going to take time with that group. But I thought the defense was going to be a lot better, a lot more reliable, a lot more consistent, and they're not. They've got good players, but they're just giving things up left and right. It seems like every week is a different issue for this Packers defense, and they are not getting the most out of the talent of the guys that they have right now. So that is one game that I think heavily impacted the playoffs, because what is the NFC right now outside of the Philadelphia Eagles? Vikings are sitting there at 4-1. Now they're in the driver's seat. Packers currently have a playoff spot, but it's the last playoff spot. It's the 7th seed. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Vikings are the 2 seed, and that's who they'd be playing in the first round, funny enough. What also is funny is that on the flip side of things, the New York Giants, they currently have a playoff spot right now at 4-1. So they're playing extremely well for the talent that they have. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Giants, at least I am, a little bit later in the show with a different segment we have. But that's the game that shaped the playoffs for me, man, because I had a lot more faith in the Packers on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that defensively. I'll just throw this in about the offense as Chris here walks in.
What does it take to get an invitation?
Oh, come on.
Seriously. I mean, how much do I got to pay you guys just to get an invitation to be on the show? That's all I'm...
Well, you got an invite. I was waiting on the text back.
I saw it. I heard you say that.
Yeah, you leave them on read. We were trying to get you on the show, and you just got to respond to the text message.
No, I'm in. So what day? When do you need me? This week?
Dude, right now, Matt Rhule just got fired, Chris.
Yeah. What?
Matt Rhule just got fired.
No.
Yeah.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah. Immediate thoughts? Do we have immediate thoughts for you?
Who's playing quarterback next?
That's what we talked
Bryce
about.
Young.
What options do they have?
You know what was kind of funny about that hire to begin with, for me, is that and you know more about college stuff than I do, but I always had heard that it was kind of an open system, that there wasn't a lot of, like, the players, the receivers that came out of it weren't used to running all the different routes on the route tree. It was kind of, let's go deep, let's throw a hitch, let's do, so they weren't sophisticated guys coming out. Am I way off base here?
Baylor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, so I never knew how that was going to translate.
Yeah,
to
it was
the
going to have to be
NFL.
different. Yeah, it was a weird hire to begin with, right? Like after so few, like he turned Temple around, turned Baylor around, but it was like he really had not done it at the highest level of college football consistently,
right?
To like justify giving him the keys to the sort of car that they did. Like they gave him full control there, and then it just obviously backfired.
And then it turned into like a bidding war for him. Mm-hmm. Was it the Giants?
Giants as well.
That were in on that,
I believe.
And I think the Giants did all right.
The Giants lucked out.
Right.
Yeah, they did all right.
They did all right.
The Rhule hire was always just fascinating to me because it was the same reason why the Buccaneers hired Schiano back in whatever it was, 2012, where they looked at what this guy did in college and they said, oh, he's a program builder. Like he knows how to take a team at the lowest and make it into something. Rhule did that at Temple. Rhule did that at Baylor. Mm-hmm. Greg Schiano did that at Rutgers. but it's different in the NFL. It's just a different animal. It's not the same components to building a good college team that it is in the NFL. And so I think that's why we ultimately saw the Matt Rhule experience fail, is because what he hung his hat on was, he rebuilt the culture. Or he rebuilt the program. Okay, well, building a program in college, a lot different than saving a bottom tier NFL team. It's a lot more about execution and game planning and things like that. And just didn't feel like that was Matt Rhule's.
You know what the other part of it is I think that we have now seen that it doesn't take 3 years to turn it around. Now in Cincinnati it did, right?
Yeah.
It did take all 3 years, but like Brian Daboll was coming there, and in 1 year, the quarterback who couldn't play, who couldn't win, now they're 4-1, they just beat the Packers. And if you're sitting in Carolina, you're going, what? How much, where's the sign?
Right.
Where's the indicator?
Right.
Yeah, no one should realistically be that far away in today's NFL. You shouldn't be 3-4 years away unless you really inherit something where you have to slash and burn. But they didn't in Carolina. It wasn't a slash and burn type of situation. It was just kind of, hey, we make a few right decisions, we're good, and they just never made those decisions.
You can't go bargain shopping at quarterback 2 years in a row and it fail and keep your job.
No, it doesn't
you can't.
work.
You can't do it.
We talk about it all the time. It's like, so let's say you miss on quarterback 3 drafts in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you do? You take another shot in the 4th one. You either find Josh Allen, right, and whoever that, Deshaun Watson, whoever that is, you just keep firing that because you don't have a chance really. Mm-hmm. And the greatest opportunity is in that short window on that rookie deal.
Yes.
To go make something happen.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost unbelievable. Like we were talking about the Lamar Jackson thing last night. And, of course, they don't sign him. Just like with Dak Prescott, they didn't sign him when they could have signed him for 30-something million.
Right.
Now they end up signing him for whatever. But let's say that Lamar goes for $50 million, which sounds outrageous. It's a quarter of the salary cap in this year. But in 2 years, it's going to be a fifth of the salary cap when it gets to 250. Then it's going to be so. It's just Patrick Mahomes when he signed that deal. We were like, what is $500 million? Now it's one of the discount contracts at quarterback that we're seeing out there.
Right.
It's unbelievable. You know what's
Wild
the best
times.
part? Is that you guys, I get to now write off this set over here. Because it used to be that we were all over here on this set over here, and so I had to pay cash for this set here. And now you guys,
can write it off.
You got a new thing. Now you got to go in front of the green screen.
Okay,
you guys see that?
we'll do that next.
Well, I
can't-
didn't even thought of that. I forget because it's always rolled up the green screen.
Does anybody here know how to use it, or did we just buy it and just like in case we had to do weather one day?
Of course, we know
Quinn
how
knows
to
how to
use
use it.
Yeah.
Quinn knows
We
how
used
to
it for
use
the
it.
Got
draft
that?
a couple years ago, I think. We'll
I don't
work
know how
it
to
in.
turn on his microphone, but
See,
We'll do something
See,
cool.
what we'll do is we'll just have you do the weatherman thing over there,
Yeah.
and you're just standing in front of a giant green
you gotta
screen.
do that. How
I
cool
would
would
love
that
to.
be on like Thursday? You go over and you go, hey, this is what the weather looks like
See?
for all the gambling
See?
interest out there.
I would
we got
love it.
snow here.
Just expand my horizons. Get
And then Chris
weather
can
game
write it
aside.
off.
I gotta write it off. I gotta write you guys off.
We gotta keep the boss happy. That's what we gotta do.
The weather would be great. Seriously. When's the last show? Do you guys do a Friday show too?
do Friday
We do a
show.
Friday
Because
show.
I'm on the road on Friday.
We
so-
do a Friday show. If
Friday.
you
I can let
showed
you know
up
the
and
weather.
did a weatherman thing on Fridays, that would actually be money.
I think we should.
All right.
This Friday I'm in.
Chris just gave us a new idea.
There you go. That's
There we
what I'm
go.
supposed to do, right? I'm out of
we
here.
invited you.
So what day am I the guest? When am I?
Well, it's kind of right now, but also like any other time you want.
Yeah.
It's your company, Chris.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
We'll have Mike's people talk with your people. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
It's a great show, man.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Well, there you go. Never know when Chris Collinsworth is going to stop by. Truly never know.
That is
I
true.
heard the door open next to me, and you looked over there, but I was trying to play it cool, and I was like,
I assumed it was Steve.
I don't know who just opened the door right now, and well, it's Chris.
Well, to finish my point and tie home the Panthers thing, Aaron Rodgers has one more completion this year, targeted 15-plus yards down the football field to Baker Mayfield. One more. 10 completions that far. This ranks 26th in the NFL. There is no explosive element to this passing game. And he's good still. He's graded out well on those throws. They're just guys not getting open to that level of the field because they don't have the talent.
I'm just looking at the chat when Chris got in, and I'm looking at the reactions. Bonker just said in all caps, "Legend." Daniel said the Collinsworth slide. That kind of was. Yeah. That was we just got the very first Collinsworth slide.
The standing slide. See, he did. I did not expect that. I'll say. I wonder if you guys could even hear him because he wasn't.
Oh,
Mic'd
could
up.
he? Could you guys hear him?
Yeah, we could hear him.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's
There we
good.
go.
Yeah, we were actually complimenting like that was pretty skillful to be able to like slide in like he did, and then be able to talk loud enough, have the presence of mind to talk loud enough to hear it.
Dude,
Unless the chat, I don't know if you're in the chat and you couldn't hear him, let us know. But I thought that kind of worked pretty well.
Oh, Bonker said hi, Chris. Bonker says hi. I didn't get to.
We've been doing a lot of shit on the fly today.
We have been doing a lot.
It's working. I think it's working at least.
I think it's working. No, it is. It definitely is. I did not expect that to happen when we were writing the rundown. I will tell you that. People were like, "Oh, just have him pull up a chair." But like Chris said, like we actually want to get him in for a full segment.
Yes.
So that is going to be happening soon. Maybe sometime this week. Maybe
Yeah, that was very unscripted.
was
Can
extreme.
confirm. That was not.
And we say that we don't mean like WWE unscripted. Like it was actually unscripted. Real quick, is there a game that didn't make sense from this weekend that you want to highlight?
Yeah, the Lions Patriots. That one,
Truly
Lions
did not
highest scoring
make sense.
offense in the NFL, shutout. Patriots.
Yeah, what the hell?
29 points, just an ass kicking, honestly. And yeah, we have some Lions injuries. You said that offense, that it wasn't that surprising that they didn't light the world on fire yet again, because they haven't been they haven't been that talented of an offense. But 0 points was ugly. I will say, it did kind of. People were chirping me for giving the Lions a quarterback in the draft, in my last mock draft last week, as if Jared Goff was the quarterback of the future. I had people saying Goff's done nothing wrong. And, well, I'd like to hear their thoughts now.
No, brother. Bryce Young's already a Detroit Lion.
I don't know if they're going to be drafting that high, but they're 1-4. Things have not gone well for them.
Bro, they just got shut out by Bailey Zappi.
I know. Well,
no, Bailey Zappi was on the defense side of the football. He was rushing the passer. He was stopping that offense.
I don't think it would have mattered.
It was not a great game for the Detroit Lions, no doubt about it. It didn't really make sense, given what we have seen for the Detroit Lions already this season. It was basically a polar opposite. Maybe it was what we expected going into the year, so maybe that was getting back to expectations, but certainly what we've seen to start the year. My game that did make sense is the Seattle Seahawks and New Orleans Saints game.
But did it, though? Because every Seahawks game does.
Every Seahawks game is just
so then it did, technically.
nuts. I just don't. Geno Smith had 5 big-time throws in this game. Geno Smith was an elite 91.0 passer rating, had 5 big-time throws, 14.9 average depth of target.
Yeah.
My guy couldn't give less of an F about whatever defenses are doing. Truly. It's unbelievable. Adjusting completion percentage was, that was somebody else. But 128.4 quarterback rating. I mean, it was all there for Geno Smith. It was insane. On the other side of things, we got a vintage Taysom Hill game. 90.3 rushing grade, 3 rushing touchdowns, 86 yards after contact, 2 explosive runs. Mike, what was this game?
Taysom Hill going off was not something I put on my bingo card. I will also say, though, have to give a shout out. Rashad Penny broke his leg. He was having a monster year. 6.1 per carry. Kenny looks good. Kenny Walker is going to pick up in Steve for sure.
Is it Kenneth or Kenny? What do we call him?
I call him Kenny, but
I think didn't he want to be called Kenny from now on?
I think so.
Or did he want to be called Kenneth?
I think he wanted Kenny.
But Kenneth is cool.
Yeah.
I'll respect his wishes though. I'll call him Kenny.
Kenny Walker.
He
looked good. 8 carries, 88 yards. That big run.
He looked good.
But man, Penny was he was en route to a special season. Very unfortunate that he had to go down.
Let's do a little best of the rest. Let's talk about some of the other games that didn't quite make the superlatives. We've talked plenty about Colts Broncos, the 12th and 9th thrilling Thursday night game. We're not talking about that. Come on, brother went down to overtime. What do you mean? It was thrilling. That was the correct adjective.
At no point was thrill a feeling that I felt in my body, but if you did, that's on you. I mean, that's for you. I'll say this: the Chargers-Browns. We didn't actually talk much about that one. That has playoff implications. The Browns' defense may be the most underperforming unit in the NFL compared to expectations. We've talked a lot about the Packers' defense and how they've, struggled, but they're still top 10 in points per game against. The Browns are averaging 25 a game against them this season. They haven't exactly played a murderer's row, probably a little bit more difficult than the Packers have faced offensively, but still, 30 points against the Chargers, gave them whatever they wanted on the ground, and that's been a common theme for this Cleveland team. Obviously, they trade for Deion Jones, the Atlanta Falcons linebacker, who has struggled himself in recent years. That's not going to upgrade your run defense, in my opinion. So I don't see where they go from here. They're just vastly underperforming the amount of talent they have on that side of the ball.
Look, I've been sitting here saying that the Texans are a really well-coached team, and I feel like the wins, maybe not piling on for them, but the wins were coming somewhere in this season. It shouldn't have been against the Jags after scoring 13 points. It absolutely should not have. And my takeaway from that game is I'm worried about Trevor Lawrence, man. Like, I part of me wants to just say, throw out last year completely. It was Urban Meyer. It was never going to work. This is really the first time that he's got a real NFL coach who's teaching him to be better. But 6 turnovers in the last 6 quarters of play, 3 picks, 4 fumbles lost. And that throw to Derek Stingley in the end zone, we joked about it to start the show. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. Derek Stingley is standing right there. What is he? Not only can that throw not happen, Lawrence would have had the first down had he just kept the ball and run with it. Mm-hmm. It was right there for him. My guy, what are you doing? How do you not even see Stingley? He's standing right there, right where you're throwing the ball. I don't mean to oversimplify how quarterback is played at the NFL level because it's extremely difficult. But Lawrence has to be better than what we have seen. Lawrence has been bad for most of this season. And that is seriously concerning.
Past 2 weeks especially. You can't lose the Texans.
Not good.
Can't lose the Texans.
Not good, my friend.
South's a murderous row right now. It is who wants to make the fewest amount of mistakes. That's who's going to win this division. It's going to be something like, it's going to be 7-10. I mean, it's trending that way.
Please no.
It is.
Please no. What if it's the Colts?
Colts at 7-10.
I will do a victory lap on this show
Yeah.
because I said that the Colts were going to win the division. So if they get into 7-10, you better believe that I'm going to do a victory lap.
They got the tie. So
I'll literally run around this room.
They did 7-9-1 or 8.
Oh, that's true.
7-9-1
would be
or
even
8.
better. Let's talk about a segment where we do revisit some old takes. Let's revisit some takes that we had in the preseason with a segment that we're going to call All In or Fold. I mentioned that we were going to get to a little poker theme here on this show. We should have got playing cards. We should have done the whole thing where we had like sunglasses and just like held up the cards and pushed the chips in. You know,
there was that cheating scandal in poker the other day.
We'll get better at.
Yeah. Could have been part of that.
Could have been part of us. All right, for my first all in or fold, I'll start. I'm gonna go with the New York Giants. Okay. Yeah. I had the Giants at 5-12 for the season, finishing dead last in the NFC East. Worst team in the NFC East. I'm folding that prediction, man. Not only because they're 1 win away from basically getting what I said that they were going to get all season already at 4-1, but I just love what these coaching staffs are doing. We've talked about how great Brian Daboll has been for them over the last couple of weeks. I want to go to the defensive side of the football as well with Wink Martindale. Played the least amount of nickel coverage going into week 5, doubled their entire nickel percentage against the Packers, completely changed what they wanted to do. Played the second most amount of snaps out of dime in the NFL, which is 6 defensive backs on the field, 0% dime packages against the Packers. They completely changed what they did against Green Bay, and that is Wink Martindale. That is what he will do against you. He will come up with different kinds of defensive game plans every single week for what he thinks works best, and this coaching staff is propelling the Giants where they need to go. They were out Sterling Shepard. They were out Wan'Dale Robinson, that one, and Kenny Golladay yesterday. They had wide receivers like David Sills, Richie James, Darius Slayton, and they beat the Packers.
Okay, well, we don't have to keep saying it, but yeah, I know they did.
The coaching has been unbelievable, and I'm folding this because I did not give the Giants enough credit coaching. I'm folding this idea that they were going to be 5-12 this year, clearly. So they're sitting there at 4-1. So I'm folding it, man.
That one's that's a safe fold. I'd say 1-11 the rest of the season. It's probably been done before, but I don't think this Giants team's the one to do it. My first take that it was either all in or fold, and I'm going to stay all in on. I'm going to stay all in on this one. We're early enough in the season. My first take was Derrick Henry to be the rushing leader. He is currently not. He has 410 yards, 180 behind Nick Chubb, who is out and away over 100 yards more than anyone else in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry has the most carries in the NFL. 104 carries on the season.
You're just going volume.
I'm going volume.
Your volume shooting.
Trusting the volume over the course of the season
Okay.
because that's not going to decrease. He is not going to at any point lose touches. He's still going for well over 300 carries this season. At that point, Sticking to it. Derrick Henry. I think he ends up still being in the mix for rushing leader at the end.
No, I think he's going to be right there.
Yeah.
It's so hard to bet against Nick Chubb though. The guy's an absolute animal.
Yeah. I don't think those stats are right on the screen, by the way.
Okay. Well,
he has 410 yards.
He's an absolute animal, Derrick Henry. But I'd still be going with Nick Chubb.
I know.
I don't want to bet against Nick Chubb. I don't want to bet against Nick Chubb.
I get that.
He's been playing amazing. My next one that I'm going to go with, I'm going all in on this. I had the Cardinals at 5-12 to start the year. I had the Cardinals with the same record as the New York Giants, so this is odd that I'm bringing these two teams up for different reasons. I had them missing the playoffs, and even though I'm not sure they only win 5 games because they're 2-3, I don't have faith in this Cardinals team to make the playoffs. I don't think that they're a playoff team. I'm going all in on the fact that they are not a playoff team. The offense is not where it needs to be. We talk about this all the time. I feel like we're beating a dead horse, but without DeAndre Hopkins on this team, they don't know where to go with the ball. Kyler Murray is throwing up 50-50 balls to these receivers that are not the ones who swing 50-50 more into your favor. He's just not. Yeah. I even thought Marquise Brown played well this past week, and it wasn't enough. Now, I think everybody kind of goes after the late game situation. The Matt Amendola missed field goal, the decision for Matt Amendola to even be on the team, the Kyler Murray slide, the spike after that. But that was a little weird because I read that Kyler thought he had the first down because the in-stadium scoreboard said that they got the first down. So that's why he spiked the ball, because he thought he slid and got the first down, but he didn't actually. So I read that. I'm not sure if I can fact check that, but even outside of Murray sliding and kind of blundering the last second drive there for them, the offense it's just not in rhythm. It's not where it needs to be. It's like the Bengals. I feel like they're completely dysfunctional. I don't have faith in it. DeAndre Hopkins can maybe save a little bit of this team because he is that kind of receiver that can make that kind of a difference, clearly what they want to do. But I'm all in on the Cardinals missing the playoffs, the prediction that I made earlier in the year.
I would just say I'm pumped up. I just want to see what it looks like when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, because I think he's that big of a difference maker. But as it stands right now, the team as it's currently constructed, yeah, I'm with you right there. They are rough at the moment. Mine is also a one I'm going to fold. I had the Bengals, 12-5, first place in the AFC North in our preseason predictions. I am ready to fold. I'm going to cut my losses on that take, eat whatever I put out in the pot already, and just say this Bengals team is an average football team at the moment.
Yep.
Solid on the defense side of the ball, average on the offense side of the ball. That's not getting you to 12 wins. That's not getting you to the top of the AFC North. And that's a 8-9, 9-8 kind of team right now is what they look like, unfortunately.
I had Justin Herbert as the NFL's passing leader going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
There's reason to still have faith in that, given the fact that he is second in total passing yards already with 1,478. But
you're folding it?
I'm folding it.
Oh,
I'm folding this.
How dare you,
brother? The average depth of target is 7.
Yeah.
It's not getting better. It's getting worse. He's going down. It's going the opposite direction. I know they don't have Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen can certainly help when he gets healthy. Hopefully he gets healthy again soon. But a lot of those yards are yards after the catch numbers. Air yard percentages for Justin Herbert below 50%.
Yeah.
It's just the game plan is not there for him to air it out all the time. I don't know. I am folding it because I just don't have faith in how they're setting up the passing offense with him right now. He has got a monster cannon arm, and when I made this prediction, I was hoping that things were going to be a little bit different for him when it came to the priority to push the ball down the field with such a unique arm talent. It does not appear that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that he's ever going to be, way outside the top 10 or anything. I just don't have faith that he's going to be number 1 anymore, because of the tendencies that I'm seeing with the offense, which are very similar to what we saw last year.
I was going to say, it looks no different than last year. They kind of went to the drawing board over the course of the offseason and said, yep, that's what we like what we did, and changed nothing about this offense, I feel like. So
I just don't have faith in it to continue to give up all those yards. It's a lot of yards after the catch stuff. Mm-hmm. And maybe that ends up being what's the difference maker for him. But his air yards being in the back half of the NFL already, I just don't love it. I don't love where it's trending, so I'm going to fold on that one.
All right.
Maybe I'm folding with like a suit, like I'm folding with like King 7 or something, and I've got a pair on the board, but I don't like how somebody else is playing.
You thought someone else.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
You think Josh Allen's just got a better hand than you.
Correct.
Which he probably does.
I do.
He probably does at the moment. But that hasn't stopped me from going all in before, because I'm still all in on the Cowboys winning the NFC East. Yes, they are a game back to the Eagles. Obviously, they face off this week and get a chance to change that with Cooper Rush at the helm. But this defense, this is a championship caliber defense. They've gotten after every single offensive line they faced. Obviously, Michael Parsons there, DeMarcus Lawrence now playing exceptionally well after a slow start to the season. I just think that they don't need much from the offensive side of the ball to still win the NFC East. And as we kind of saw this past weekend, the Eagles are beatable. Yes, they're undefeated, but to only score 20 points against that Cardinals defense, they are not this. They're not the juggernaut you think of when you think of a top of the league type of offense. They do not have that explosive passing game the way the Chiefs have had when they were an elite offense. The Packers had when they were an elite offense. They're kind of just a methodical, move the ball offense, and I think the Cowboys defense is well suited to at least slow down some of that and not just get railroaded. So I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to go all in. I still think the Cowboys can win these.
Well, I mean, I think that just to help out your argument here, they don't even have Dak yet. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's a different offense when Cooper Rush is in there, and he's orchestrating it well. Obviously, they're racking up wins. They're playing good football. But when you say, hey, I don't think this offense is as explosive as maybe we thought it was going to be, that could still be a second half of the season thing for the Cowboys. They can still figure it out, and I think that Dak has the arm and is the type of quarterback to be able to do that. So I think things could get even better for you there. So I'm helping your argument.
There you go.
I agree. Going all in. There we go. All right. That was a little poker action. Next time we'll get the sunglasses. We'll go all out. We'll actually bring the chips in. We'll get aggressive with it. Let's do a little refresh the timeline. We're doing a refresh the timeline at the end of the show here. Get you guys out with some of our favorite social clips, things that we saw on social media over the weekend, and then of course we'll give you some Monday Night Football bets as well. We start refresh the timeline, unfortunately, with an unfortunate angle from the London game. Mike, this was your submission, so I'll give this one to you if you want to talk about it here, but.
It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think it needs much.
What is going on? What is he doing? Why is half of Darnay Holmes' ass on the screen?
See, that's the thing. It would be innocuous were half his pants pulled down for his ass to be hanging out.
What is going on?
Obviously, there were some low-hanging fruit responses to that, but that's I just need an explanation. I need Darnay to come out and be like, hip flexor.
Somebody tell me something.
Yeah.
Well, you and I were watching a bunch of the games yesterday, and you just point blank said to me, I think there was silence for 10 seconds, and then you were like, what is he doing? What is he doing in the Giants clip? I don't understand. And the best answer that I could come up with was truly massaging the hip flexor out. But then why are the pants off for that?
Yeah. The pants being down is the big throw off there.
Sus.
You don't see pants down at a NFL game.
Blocker said it's just football.
We really could get him on and have him explain, because isn't Darnay Holmes a friend of the program? Wasn't he a friend of the 2-for-1?
I think he came out. Yeah, I think we did do an interview with him.
Yeah, Austin was big on him.
Let's see. I'm going to his Twitter right now.
We'll reach back out.
Has he said anything? He hasn't tweeted since August 28th or September 9th. So.
I mean, if there's any time to break your silence, my guy, it's right here.
Dude.
The world needs to know.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is
keep guessing.
That trainer's phone has to just be blowing up. How many of his friends do you think sent him this clip? Every single one. If you are in any way
so you want to work in the NFL?
I can literally hear Sav laughing in the production suite. We've got thick glass between us, and I can hear Sav laughing that hard about it. This is okay. What did the production crew mention?
Darnay Holmes was a friend of the program way back in the 2-for-1 draft days.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did
on.
a couple interviews with him at I think it was the Senior Bowl.
Okay, all right.
So maybe we need to rekindle that flame and just be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing?
We gotta reach out. We're gonna reach out to these people. The other refresh timeline that we have. This one was my submission.
Mm-hmm.
We've had our fair share, as most people have, of Russell Wilson's odd social media presence, and we have poked fun at the Subway commercial. If you guys have seen it, it's Russell Wilson debuting his new signature Subway sandwich called the Dangerwich. Well, for you guys and for science, yesterday morning, yes, in the morning, I went to Subway and I got the Dangerwich.
So
I got the
what's on it again?
Okay, so
refresh
it is
the people.
pepperoni, salami, black forest ham, green peppers, banana peppers, provolone cheese, tomatoes, lettuce, and then it's supposed to come with mustard and mayonnaise.
Isn't
on
that
Italian
just the
herbs and
Italian
cheese
BMT? Isn't that with just like
Yeah, so
It's an Italian sandwich with bacon minus the
bacon.
Italian dressing.
Yeah, there's bacon on there as well.
Basically is what it is,
Uh,
which sounds great.
The guy who rang it up said, "Hey, for next time, just so it's easier, he's like, it's called like a BMP." He's like, "This is called a BMP for next time." And I almost wanted to say to him, "Are you sure it's not called the Dangerwich?" But I didn't want to be that big of a dick about it. Like, I didn't want him to be like, "The what?" And then we were both just standing there
So
awkwardly.
you didn't say Dangerwich to order it?
No.
You said the ingredient list.
Because I looked on the menu and
Yeah,
the Dangerwich
it was not
is
there.
nowhere to be found on there.
Oh,
So if
okay.
I would have said that, he would have stared at me because I also got this like 15 minutes after they opened. So he'd have been like,
Yeah.
"Jackass, get out of my franchise store." What are
How
you saying?
early in the
to me
morning
right
was
now?
this?
This was 10:15 a.m.
10:15 a.m. Getting
Yeah.
a Dangerwich. You probably are the earliest consumer of a Dangerwich.
Probably.
To date.
Probably.
But yeah, it's the Italian BMT, I'm pretty sure, with just like banana peppers, it sounds like, which was my go-to back when I did eat Subway, which I don't eat Subway anymore. I'm never going to again, actually.
Catherine asked, "What's the rating? 1 out of 10?" Here's the thing. If you think Subway is trash, then it's just trash. Like it's just going to be bad. If you don't like Subway, then I mean the answer is going to be 0 for you. I'm not that harsh of a food critic. I'll eat a lot. I thought it was good. I did.
Well, the BMT's probably like one of the better items.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought the sandwich was good. Maybe I'll have to go to Publix, some deli that I think is a little bit superior. Maybe get the exact same ingredients. Give you a Dangerwich from Publix, but
You're going to have to go to Florida to go there. But ain't no Publix up here, brother.
good. I'll get out of here. More for me
I
and
love
you.
Publix.
No,
Publix.
okay. So yeah, it was not bad. It was not spicy. It was like a 2 out of 10 spice. But I did feel dangerous after eating it. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you?
I thought about doing something dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
I thought about loitering afterwards.
that's probably the only law Russell Wilson's broken.
I thought about
in his life.
like maybe littering. And then obviously, 5 minutes
Bad
later
boy.
feeling guilty and then like going and picking it up because you don't care about the environment. But like I thought about it. I was feeling pretty
Also,
dangerous.
2 out of 10 spice for you is probably like a 6 out of 10 for Russ.
For us, yeah.
He's like a pretty bland guy, I
he
feel
is.
like.
Then it's probably it's spicy. All right, let's talk about Monday Night Football. Let's get you guys some bets to win you some money to start your week off. Mike, we're previewing Las Vegas Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going spread. We're going over under. We're going a prop bet, one of each for each portion of this game. Spread right now, Kansas City, 7-point favorite. This one's in Kansas City. This one's in Arrowhead. The over-under is 51.5, and then whatever prop bet you choose. Where are you going with the bets tonight?
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs to cover 7 points. They've kind of had the Raiders number outside of that Henry Ruggs game. And Henry Ruggs ain't walking through that door. And I also go under in this one, 51.5. I do just think the Chiefs defense a little maybe underrated, so I still believe in them. So that's why I'll go that. And then my prop being Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Middle of the field. I'm just thinking of
Yeah.
him matched up against Jonathan Abram at any point in the game. That just like thoughts ruminate in my head, and I'm thinking that's an over. That's an over at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you on the first two. Obviously, we're going to have different prop bets, but I think the Chiefs are covering. I just think the Raiders stink, man. As much as I wanted to sit here and convince myself, hey, this is a divisional game, the Raiders could play them tough. There's obviously a lot of players that have played against the Chiefs before, but it's a new coaching staff. It's not like it's this experienced coaching staff that's gone up against Andy Reid one-on-one in this division before. I got to pick the Chiefs. They're just in a better spot. I'm going with Chiefs to cover the touchdown. I'll go under 51.5. I do agree with you that the Chiefs are pretty dang good on defense. I think it's a decently high-scoring game. I think it'll end somewhere in the 40s, but I don't think we're getting over 50. And then Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns. Just don't think the Raiders' defense is good enough to stop that from being the case. There's too much creativity. They're clicking on too many cylinders. Certainly after what we saw them do against Tampa's defense last week, I got all the faith in the world that Mahomes can handle things the way that he needs to. There we go.
Yeah.
What is the
Answer the question of the day.
answer to the question of the day?
Was it Geno? And
It
why
was
is not
Geno.
on? It was.
Trev, you were right. I know you said officially Josh Allen, but I could tell your heart said Geno. It was the touchdown throw to Tyler Lockett.
It was
He
that one.
threaded
That
in
one was
between
sick.
like 8 guys.
Well, that was like avoided 2 pressure, stepped up in the pocket, just threw a dime right over 2 defenders, straight in the back of the end zone. That's it is a beautiful throw. That's what we need. That's what we need for the
2 designation.
2 points on it.
We don't give those away. I think in my grading days, I haven't graded in 4 or 5 years now. I probably gave like 4 in my entire years of grading. There ain't a lot. I'm trying. I swear there was one though that I was like, that should be a +2 before. I'm gonna go look it up, and I'll say it after. Not tomorrow's show.
I'm talking to Steve Palazzolo right now, who I know does a lot of stuff for Ultimate. And Steve, I just need this to happen. Next time you pitch Ultimate to a team or a client or something, when you highlight a +2 throw, Geno Smith better be the player that you have on the PowerPoint project. That's all I'm saying. It better be Geno Smith. You got to give him his just desserts there. All right, there we go. Recapping all of the Sunday slate action. It was a good time. Jam-packed show, a lot to talk about, and which means there's plenty to talk about throughout the week as well. We're not just talking football here on a Monday. We're going to be unpacking what we saw this weekend. Throughout the week, we're going to be recapping what we're going to see this Monday on Monday Night Football between the Chiefs and the Raiders, and we're going to do it all, obviously, in a very fun way. For Trevor Sikkema, that is Mike Renner. For everybody in the production suite, thank you guys so much for watching the show. Well, did I forget something?
Chat champ.
Oh, yeah. Who's the chat champ?
First 2-time chat champ in the history of the show, Daniel Sauter.
Wow.
He was on it today. Very witty, very attentive, which
Here we
goes to
go.
show we're not playing favorites here, right? Like, we're not just going to give it to somebody because, like, oh, you already won. Like, no, if you bring
gotta
it,
earn it.
you will be rewarded. So congratulations, Daniel.
What a great motto. Daniel, winning it twice. This is great because now everybody who's been the chat champ already got a little motivation.
Yep,
a little
setting the
motivation
bar.
to put him a little bit further. Well, we're going to be having a lot of fun segments. We're going to be bringing back trivia, of course, later in the week. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for you guys to get your chat chant titles. Shout out to Daniel, our first 2-time winner here on It's Just Football, the chat champ. We're going to see Daniel and all of you tomorrow right here on this very desk at 11 a.m. as we recap everything from Monday Night Football and the stats that matter that we saw from Week 5. We'll see you guys then.
It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get it and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.